Alright, let's do a quick rundown of the current CN Endgame, what you can expect in Season 1, what we can expect that's coming to us in like the next few months. And I want to start with the dragon raids. I guess that's a thing that a lot of people are like curious about, interested about. And the dragon raids, you can enter them through this area right here, like a thing high up in the sky, but you can just teleport to it. And here at this structure, you can access the dragon raids. What most people will do instead though is you just enter them through applying for a group here, because yeah, one person makes a group, 19 people apply. Makes sense, right? So here you can do matchmaking, but I don't think people ever really do matchmaking for the dragons. And that is maybe to do with like gatekeeping or like checking your stuff, but also just it is a bit like easier maybe to just do the group than like do matchmaking and hope that like a group finds itself. So yeah, people in China would usually not do matchmaking. Like I've tried to go through matchmaking before, I've never found a group. So yeah, and these dragons, I believe the first dragon, it's going to be this one, the ice one. And here you can see the suggested rating, and it's kind of hard to read, but the gear score requirement is going to be 12.7k. So, because if you've played the CBT, this wasn't even out. This comes out after like 19 days, I think. So almost 3 weeks. It's not going to be that hard to reach 12.7k, I think. So this will probably be doable for every player. And especially this raid, it's not really hard. And the more you progress in the raid, like with the different difficulties, there are some mechanics that are added later on. So this one is quite tame. Like probably not going to struggle. Like even if you pack this raid, it's probably not gonna be a struggle. And then yeah, we have like some progression. I'm not sure when these come out, like maybe a week after or something. Like you can check it. I think they're like the daily checklist might have it, stuff like that. This is going to be like 15.2k, and then this one is always the hardest. This one is 16.1k requirement. But in time, they're like really achievable, you know, for like free-to-play players to clear day one if you're actively playing. And yeah, then after a while, like these gradually release. They're not all released at once. Then these gradually release. They have like a higher requirement of 16k to 20.6k. And then these guys, they're released quite a bit later. And these are like one of the pinnacle content right now in the game. And they also drop like the best stuff, also drop gear for like the drop items for the level 100 weapons, stuff like that. And these go up to like, this guy is almost 28k, right? But this will be a long time before we get them on global. And yeah, these ones, they do have some mechanics, especially like the light dragon. Want to make sure that you kind of know the mechanics. But yeah, since we have like Revice, Irona and stuff, this is where you want to be using Irona, especially maybe on the first clears. It's gonna make it a bit easier. But yeah, it's not really required also. And yeah, usually for these, like, you go into the party finder, make like a group, and you can see like this is the easy, normal, and hard mode. And here you can see a group currently right now. Like, I saw some people asking if there's really, like, you really only want 2 tanks and 2 healers. No, usually not. Usually groups fill with more of these. So you shouldn't worry about like not getting into a group. The only thing that you should be mindful about, especially as a DPS, is that you hit the gear score requirement. Because, yeah, otherwise people probably don't want to take you into the group. Because especially in the later dungeons, there are like some DPS checks, and also just missing DPS, it's going to make you have to play more mechanics, because some mechanics are like time-based. So the longer you take, the more mechanics you have to do, the higher your probability of like somebody dying is. So yeah, just makes it a lot easier to do. And of course, like there are some DPS checks. All right, moving on. Like the next really big endgame thing I want to talk about is the tower, or like diamond walls. And the diamond walls, they're also gradually open. So once we get the global launch, there will only be up to floor 20 accessible at the start. And we did it on the CBT. I think I did it pretty early, just because it's really not that difficult. Like the start, they started like 5k gear score, so you probably have that in the first few days. Not quite sure on it, but yeah, like these are really not that difficult. You have a mix always of AoE stages where there's a lot of mobs you have to gather, and usually you like gather them in one place, like you all run down or you all run up. And there are like some things that I don't want to get into specifics, maybe later. And then every 5 stages you have a boss stage, and these boss stages are very, very variable to do, because they basically drop what the boss imagine can drop for you outside of the game. And I believe it has like a 100% chance at least to like give the gold material. So it depends on what boss is in the rotation. Like every 2 weeks this resets, and this will also reset the rotation of bosses and maybe also of some monsters, but the bosses are the important ones. And this is like a major source of gold materials also. Like this is so good to do. So you really want to make sure that you do this like every 2 weeks. There is a rested bonus, but you're not gonna get as much as if you're actually clearing it. And this has such high value. If you're any serious player playing this game, you want to make sure you clear as high as possible. And as I said, like for the first 2 weeks, gonna get up to floor 20. Show why it isn't saying here. And this says 11.4k requirement, so it's not too bad. It's definitely like doable. We have to see like with the rotation, because we start on Thursday. I hope they don't make it so like we could only be having like 1.5 weeks time, or like I'm not quite sure. In the CBT it was like kind of weird, because I think we only had like a few days of floor 20 and then it already like unlocked floor 40. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because like floor 40 is going to be quite difficult. It's gonna take like quite a lot of time to get to 22k. Some people did it earlier, and especially the CBT. Also, like, gear score is just a number and doesn't really reflect how fast you can actually clear stuff. So people will be probably able to do it with lesser gear score, but not gonna be that easy. So if you want to be clearing these as they come up, and like before the tower actually resets, I think you do have to be like quite min-maxy to get all the rewards on the first time they release. But every time after that, it's going to be like easier and easier to do. And you really want to be doing this. As I said, like these materials, like you can see, like every 5 stage you have a boss, right? So you get a lot of materials from here. And this will make building any imagine, even like gold imagines, much easier. So this is kind of like a blessing to have. The like kind of unfortunate thing about it is that with each reset, which happens every 2 weeks, you will have to do the entire thing again. So currently right now on CN, there are 60 floors, and once it resets in 4 days and 19 hours, you can see here, I will have to start on floor 1 again on my Shield Knight here. On my mage, I haven't done it. So that is something to keep in mind, like with players saying, like, you don't need to spend that much time on the game, like 10 minutes and you're done with the game daily. Yes, if you like speedrun the dailies, maybe that is true if you ignore like keys and stuff like that. But that is really like not doing the game justice, because stuff like that, maybe you want to do it in 1 day if you like have a lot of time. But even like on CN right now, with people juice, people like out gearing this, it's going to take you like, just because of how long these floors are, how you need to like gather them up, kill the boss and stuff like that. It's going to take you like 2 hours at least to do, even on China. And if these are actually a challenge for you and you might like fail some stages, you have to redo it because you fail the time requirement. So for each stage you have a time requirement. And this is going to be like the thing that actually limits you from clearing, not the difficulty of like the mobs killing you or stuff like that. It's just the time requirement that is going to be the issue. So yeah, just keep that in mind, that this is actually like every 2 weeks you have to like spend a few hours on this, but it's really worth to do. So now moving on to the third like big thing of the end game in CN right now. It's going to be the master dungeons. If you watched like a previous video of mine, I already know about them a little bit, but basically all the normal dungeons in the game have a master difficulty attached to them. And I believe the first master difficulty becomes available after around 14 days, the server being up. And the lowest requirement here is 12.3k. And there are like different stages of the master difficulty up to tier 20 right now. But they don't all like increase their rewards, they don't like increase the drop chance. The only thing for the most part that goes up is just the strength of the monsters, the HP and stuff like that. But one thing that is very important for you to know is, with the first master difficulty up to master 5, it does drop level 60 gear with item level 60. Of course, like once these are out, you want to get them, you want to upgrade your gear from the level 40 gear that you had previously, like after 2 weeks. We'll get into the level 60 gear. And then after some time, I'm not quite sure about the timing, Master 6 to Master 10 will open. And these actually will drop item level 80 gear. So the level is still level 60. Like there's no change in the level right now on CN, but the item level just keeps going up. And these are quite a bit stronger than the level 60 gear. So once it releases and you have like the gear score requirement, or at least around there, you can clear this, or you want to be clearing this, and then you will go into the level 80 gear. And I didn't go into that quite a bit before, but the dragon raids, they also give raid gear. So at the current endgame, you want to do like a mix and match of both the raid gear that you can craft from dragons, as well as with this level 80 gear. So that's something to keep in mind, like you will need these to do these to get like perfect gear, and you will need to do the dragon raids every week. If you're a hardcore player, you want to be clearing all of these and grinding, especially these for perfect stats, because the raid gear, you can't adjust the stats. They're just crafted. You can't control the stats on them. They adjust to your specialization stat. But these, you can really farm and you can like perfect the stats for your specific class. But it will also mean that if you play like different specs, different classes, you will have to have like different sets of gear, like different pieces for some of the gear pieces to adjust to your like spec that you're currently playing. Alright, now there are like 20 tiers, as I said before, but the highest reward you can currently get in terms of like progression, gear, stuff like that, is actually Master 6. Everything above that is just optional content, which also means that like people keep talking about like tier list, stuff like that. The only thing where like maybe some classes are struggling right now is in the highest master tiers available, which are completely optional. They don't even give you like a skin or anything. They are just for bragging rights, for like these master points that you can get here. So it shows your max clear of stuff. And there is like 3 cosmetics that you can get with like higher master clears. This even you will get if you just clear everything at Master 6, which is quite easy to do. Obviously you want to be doing this, so this you will eventually unlock. This you can get like with a little bit more, like clearing a little bit higher. And yeah, the mount I think is around like full Master 16 clear. It is a pretty cool mount, but even like Master 16, I think it's like pretty obtainable for every class in the game right now, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about any tier list stuff. These, like anything above that is like really endgame stuff, like really kind of hardcore stuff. If you like that, then that's something for you, but like as a like more casual player, you really don't need to worry about it. And yeah, these are like the big 3 things that you want to be doing in the end game. Want to farm these out. This is like adding on top of like the weekly stuff and the daily stuff. And yeah, you do have a lot to do with these. Like they will keep you busy, at least like for some time, especially like the master dungeons. Of course, like once you obtain like your perfect set of gear, there's not that much reason for you to keep refarming those. But there's still like a weekly limit, for example, on the reforged stones, and these you will need to farm a lot of in the start of the Master Dungeons, especially when Master 6 releases. They do have a weekly limit for both of these, which is, I think, 60. So you want to be doing these dungeons like either like 25 or 30 times each week. So to get all of the rewards from here, because these will really like limit your progression, limit your gear score if you don't get them. Once you have like a full set of level 80 gear fully perfected, then it kind of becomes a bit optional to do these. If you like, if we can assume that maybe we get like higher item level gear, then same with these, like they will upcycle maybe, because level 60 Reforged Stones you can upcycle each week to some level 80 ones. But that is just an assumption. But if you want to like make different sets of gear, or even have like different pieces of gear, maybe you want to try something out, then you will want to keep farming these. Even if you have like acquired all of your gear. And you're also like, just in every other one of these dungeons, you can just farm them for the skin. Yeah, those are just some things to keep in mind. And yeah, this is like the breakdown of the endgame for the most part. Of course, there are like the